every single morning, before I even get out of bed, I dedicate that day to the Lord. This is his day. I don't know what he's got planned for me today, but he's going to use my talents today. He's going to use my gifts today. So by dedicating my life to him, even before I take my first steps, that whole day is his, and I feel much more guided by him.
Welcome to the Build to Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on their journey from millions to billions. And we believe that the key to scaling your wealth and compounding, making a bigger impact, starts every single day with the mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership. And our ultimate goal is to help you scale, build your wealth, your life, your faith, so you can make a bigger impact and help MVPs. Hey, I'm your host today, Brett Swartz. Each and every episode, we're joined by some of the best in the world at what they do: entrepreneurs, investors, millionaires, and billionaires. And today's show is no exception. In fact, I'm so excited about our next guest. He's out of the great country of Canada, and he helps high achievers find fulfillment beyond career successes. He's an investor, entrepreneur, global speaker, author, humble servant, and is seen on CNN, Fox Business, PBS, Apple TV, and so much more. Also Ironman. Don't forget about that. Please welcome to the show with me, Markus, Kaulius. Markus, how are we doing?
Brett, I love it, man. Thank you so much for having me. I'm psyched to be here, psyched to share. I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And for our listeners, just getting to know you for the very first time, would you please give us a little bit about your story and your current focus?
Oh, sure. I'd love to. I'm a hardcore entrepreneur. I've always been this way. It's in my DNA. I'm unhireable. I wouldn't want to work with me if I was going to be my boss. I love everything about the entrepreneurial journey. I love learning about money and how to deploy it, how to use it to make real impact in this world. And I love helping others learn how money is supposed to be seen in our lives, because I think a lot of us look at it the wrong way. And, I heard a brilliant person once say, money is like air. We need it to live, but we don't live for air. And I think that's really good. And I think money is the exact same. Yeah, we need it to live, but we shouldn't be living for money. And so I'm a big fan of teaching people how to focus up on, what do you really want out of life? What does winning really look like? What does success really look like? Because I don't think enough of us actually define that. And then what actions do we need to take? What habits do we need to create? Who do we need to become to live into the life that we dream?
By the way, everyone can learn more about Markus right now by going to playabiggergame.com, playabiggergame.com. Okay, so let's dive right into this. What does winning really look like? What have you found as the top mistakes that hard driving entrepreneurs or people who have been very successful that you've coached, or some of the challenges that you had to work through, right? Yeah. At first, and then what was the mindset shift? And then what was the method that they helped to overcome when it pertains to what does winning really look like?
Oh, what beautiful questions. Let's go. Hey, Brett. So let's start with this. I think the majority of people, more than 9 out of 10 people I work with, have not actually defined success in a very long time. And what happens when we haven't defined it in a long time is we've got things in there that we put in there when we were like 7 or 8 years old. Like, well, my definition of success, and this is a true story, by the way, one that I had to uncover that I was like, why is this in here? I pictured myself in this red Hawaiian shirt with the flamingo on it, and I'm driving that really old looking Ferrari. Why? Because when I was watching Magnum PI when I was like 7 years old, I'm like, dude is so cool. He's so good with the ladies. He's got his buds. What more is that's success? And I found myself being drawn to these things. And I'm like, wait, I'm a 28-year-old dude. I don't really want that shirt. By the way, I owned that shirt at one point. And I'm like, well, this doesn't really feel like success. And so first and foremost is defining it again. Because we need to recognize what is success. And when we usually start with money, which most of us go, well, financial success, great. How much is it? What is the number that actually makes you successful? Without defining that, what a horrible, horrible journey we're going to be on, because there will never be enough money. And we all know what that looks like. Well, I just know it's more than where I'm at right now. No, that's not a good enough answer. Here's $1. Are you happy now? Do you feel successful now? You have to define it. And then we have to stop and say, I've won. I've already won. Do we set new goals? Absolutely. Let's keep going on this journey. But we have to stop and go, I did it. I mean, a year ago, I could have never imagined having this much money. 5 years ago, I couldn't have fathomed being the guy I am today. But so often, because we didn't set the goals, because we didn't actually look at the stuff, we just keep breezing by these major moments in our lives, these major successes. And I really believe people are having successes every single day that they're just breezing past. And what ends up happening is we always feel unfulfilled, and we look for fulfillment in the wrong places, like drugs and alcohol and running around on our wives and all these things that don't bring us any more joy or any high. In fact, it takes us the other way. So it really starts with defining it. And who do we want to become? Who do we want to look like? Who do we want to be when we're actually successful?
Okay, this is awesome. Okay, and so a number one mistake, we're not defining it or holding on, or our subconscious is holding on, or our younger self is holding on to this vision of what success was, and we don't take the time to slow down and actually ask ourselves, what does success look like today? What does winning look like today? A.
Love it.
B. Who do we want to become? Right? Who do we want to become? And those two things are the foundation for being able to get momentum in this part. Is that a fair summary?
I love it. Love the summary. Now, can I take it one step further?
Please. Yes, please.
So one of the reasons that I went with those 2 points is because if you just go with number one, it's like having a really good goal. The problem with that is this: a lot of us will reach our goals, and because it was just a goal, first, I didn't actually really enjoy the journey that much. I knew I had to get to this point. I had to make this much money. I had to look like this. I had to have this kind of relationship. And then when you get there, this doesn't feel as good as I was hoping. And yeah, I celebrated, but that celebration lasted 6 hours or 6 days, and rarely does it ever last 6 months. So the piece of who do I need to become to succeed in this way? Now, there's the exciting part of the question, because it's the journey that you really have to enjoy. I love becoming the man that I need to become to reach my next level of success. I love it. I love the pieces that I've put in every day, the habits that I've formed. Those I actually enjoy. So I'm going to win today for sure. And guess what? If you win enough days, you're going to win the month. You're going to win the year. And all of a sudden, in a year, in 5 years, in 10 years, your life looks so radically different, and you got to enjoy every single day of that journey.
So John Maxwell, I was learning from him, and he talked about 2 things, right? You got goal mindset and a growth mindset. And he said exactly what you just said, in the sense that if you just hit the goal, the challenge is you think you've arrived, right? Or even then you're like, well, what now? Whereas a growth mindset, it's never satisfied. It is the journey, and it's a continual journey. It's a continual growth, and it's going to help to feel it. And it's that slight shift, right, from the external, which is, let me achieve this thing. Let me get that. Let me graduate from college, or high school, then college, and then let me land the job. Let me close the deal. Let me start the business. Like, it's all so external, and external to me, Marcus, is temporary.
Yes.
Right. But internal is eternal, right? So if there's character things, leadership, growth, like everything, your faith, like especially your family, your legacy, you're pouring into those things like that. That is what lasts forever. So talk about the difference between eternal, right? Internal, growth mindset versus external temporary goal mindset.
Oh, what beautiful leading. Thank you for this, Brett. I want to also mention why I love that you brought this up, because if we do exactly as you're talking about, where we're just focusing on the goal, this, by the way, might sound very foreign to people, or maybe you've heard it a little bit and you're like, I don't know if I buy into everything these guys are saying. Here's my question. Are you getting the results in life that you are loving? Because if nothing is broken, I'm not here to fix anything. And plus, I won't be able to fix anything with you if you don't think anything is broken. So I just want you to look at your life thus far, going with what you know thus far. And most of us are like, well, I aim for these goals and then I either hit them or I don't. Okay, Is that working out for you? Are you feeling as much fulfillment in your life as you would like? And if the answer is anything but 100% yes, I am experiencing everything I want to experience. If that's not your answer, then why not at least be open to the idea that there might be something in this? And so that idea of us growing, I love how so many brilliant minds before me have said it. We are like flowers, and a flower doesn't get to a point and then just stop. And you go back in a month or a year and the flower looks the same. It has two modes. It's either growing or it's dying. And that's really who we are. I fully believe that as humans. If we are not growing, we're dying. We're dying in our complacency. We're dying in our boredom. We're dying in, well, I succeeded last month and I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So when we have a beautiful long-term vision, this eternal vision that you're talking about, which is, I just love to grow. If I'm growing, I feel great. And it just so happens I've pointed my growth at a whole bunch of targets that will also help me feel like I've succeeded. And those are my goals. But as long as I have that 1% growth each day, I'm a little bit better today than I was yesterday, then I won.
Okay, so amazing. By the way, everybody, again, find Mr. Markus Kaulius by going to playabiggergame.com, playabiggergame.com. By the way, Markus, what was that game growing up? What was that one game that you just said, I just love this game? Was it sport? Was it a different game? What was the game? Take us back to Markus at 7 when he's dreaming about being Magnum PI. Was it racing cars? Was that the game that you were into? What was the game for Markus that he just loved to play? And if he could play it every day, he would play it.
I don't think I had it. I mean, I played a whole bunch of different sports. I was not very good at it. I was a different human being up until I was 15 years old. And when I say different, I mean 180 degrees different. I had no confidence. I had no self-worth. I grew up in a very broken family. And it's not just broken because of the divorce. I mean, we were broke financially. We were broke spiritually. We had no love in the house. And that impacted everything. Shocker, right? But when I was 15, everything started to change. Everything changed, honestly, in an instant. I became a different person when I made a choice to become a different person. And then the game that I fell in love with, strange as it sounds, was entrepreneurship. I loved the idea of being my own boss. I loved the idea of owning my own businesses. And I started my first real business when I wasn't even 19 yet, and I was selling sports nutrition out of my bedroom. Just selling it off of my shelves in my room. Dudes were coming and sitting on my bed. It was really weird. And that was awesome. And I loved that game. I was like, how do I keep getting better at this? And when we find something that we love, what a beautiful place as a learning ground to go, okay, what do I love about this? What is it about this game that I'm loving? And how can I use those things that I love in the rest of my life to make me succeed in the other areas of my life?
What was the sports nutrition you were selling? Was it like protein bars and protein shakes or like creatine? Like what was the stuff?
Yeah, I had everything you needed, brother. I am your one-stop shop. You need protein, I got your protein. You need fat burners, pre-workouts, I got you.
That's awesome. Okay, great. So 15. Okay, so who was the pivotal person or the pivotal moment or God? What changed at 15?
So my father, when they divorced at 7, he was like truly out of my life. I saw him once in a while on weekends here and there. But at 15, he comes back into my life and he says, I'm taking my new family to Hawaii. Oh, thanks for the call, Dad. But he says, would you like to come with us? And I said, oh, absolutely. And so on that flight to Hawaii, I heard from God. And what God said is, you don't have to be the person that the world is telling you to be. This person with no confidence, no self-worth. By the way, quick question, Markus, does it feel right? And the answer was no. And I hope people listening to right now are resonating with something I'm saying. And maybe that's, doesn't it feel right if I said you had a bigger game to play in life? You had a bigger role that is waiting for you. And if your answer is like, yeah, I think you're talking to me, I believe that's your talents. That's the human being that you were meant to be. has been stifled by this world. Social media, news, everything in your world that has said, don't be so loud, don't be so quiet. You're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too tall, you're too this, you're too that. And it's put us in a box. And that's who I was at 15. And when I felt that voice of God, it just opened everything up to go, I can be who I want to be. And the first thing I wanted to change, and by the way, I hope, again, people listening are like, I could do with a little bit more confidence. I wanted to be a confident guy, and it was really easy. What does a confident guy look like? Well, I think he has his chest up a little bit more. I think he has a bit better eye contact. I think when you shake my hand, you're going to feel a real shake. And I stepped off the plane as that human being. Now, if you're listening and you're going, oh, so you were faking it? Actually, I would argue I was faking being the other way. I was actually being my real authentic self for the first time in my life. And that is how people accepted me. Now, if you're going, yeah, but I know I'm not a confident person, I'd say, do you think there's more confidence in you to give? Do you think there's something that's being held back by this world, by your family, by even people who love you, might not even be meaning to do it, but are going, we just want you to be okay. I don't want you to be okay. I don't want you to be okay. I want you to be freaking amazing. If you aren't living a life that you can go, I am so happy. I'm so proud of my life. I'm so fulfilled with my life. Then I beg you, try some of this stuff. Just look into it a little bit and see how it feels. If you feel like your life is getting 1% better, why not just keep going with that? Why not keep trying on that path and keep learning, keep growing, and take in some of this and put it to use immediately?
Okay, so it sounds like number one, the biggest mistake is not asking yourself the questions, right? Of what success looks like, what winning looks like,
yes.
and who am I becoming, right? And who do I want to become?
Yes.
And who is the human being that I was meant to be? Also, feels like if you're not open to being radically vulnerable with those thoughts and feelings and looking inside, plus willing to take and try new, different approaches, different steps, different habits, then you're probably going to stay stuck where you're at. Is that a fair summary, Markus?
Oh, Brett, you are speaking my language so good, brother. And what a beautiful lead to say this. A lot of people will step out and they'll try something new. You know, first of all, you're laying out a beautiful blueprint, by the way, of who do you want to be? What does that person look like? And these are easier questions than people realize. Just take 5 minutes, 10 minutes to answer a couple of these questions. If I was super fulfilled and super happy, super joyous with my life, how do I look? How do I feel? And you might, well, I'm probably a lot healthier than I am right now. I probably eat better. I probably walk with more confidence. You take each one of these characteristics and you go, okay, great. I'm a healthier person. What does a healthier person do? And the answers are obvious. Well, that person probably exercises. That person probably eats right. Great. What changes can you start today? Just today. Worry about today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to figure itself out if you worry about today. And you don't actually have to worry. So just start planning and take action today. I am going to go for a walk today. I'm going to go for a workout today. I'm going to eat healthier today. I'm not going to radically change everything, but I'm going to make a few moves. Shocker, you start feeling better real quick. You aren't going to be a totally different human being by tomorrow, but a little bit better. And then here is the kicker. And Brett, I think you led me to this, which I love. You will take the wrong path sometimes. That's okay. The path you are on right now is not the right path if you feel it's not the right path. So what is the harm in going a little bit of a different direction? At least you are growing. At least you tried something. Will you have to back up a little bit and go this way now? Yeah. But here's where people go really wrong. They think they got ahead, and went right back to zero. It's not true. You might get ahead, and when you fall back, you just fall back a little bit. You're still so much further from where you were when you started. And now you start going on this path, and you fall back a little bit. But you keep growing, and it's amazing. My lows are way higher than the highest high I had 5 or 10 years ago.
Okay, I'm taking major notes here. That's why I paused for just a second here. All right.
I'm seeing that and I love it, brother.
All right. This is what came to mind as you were saying all this. Okay. So in the Bible, it says repeatedly, do not be afraid, do not be afraid, do not be afraid. Right. And one thing I've learned over the years, and even maybe more recently, I'm learning every day as I'm practicing, is like the opposite of faith is not doubt. The opposite of faith, Marcus, is fear.
Oh yeah. Really
Okay.
good.
And so you talked about everything here that we're talking about here, this level of fear that's holding back the person from looking inwardly, from taking the next step, for trying something new, from being vulnerable, right? All of these things. So what's been the top way, Marcus, that you help people to step and walk in courageous faith versus stepping or not stepping and staying in fear?
So this can be a process, but I'm going to give you guys some high level stuff right here. I hope if any of it lands for you, pursue it. Pursue it hard, because there is so much gold at the end of what I'm saying here if you're moving towards this path. What if life was happening for you and not to you? What if everything that's happened in your whole life, even the worst stuff, was actually a gift for you? Think about the times in your life when you grew the most, when you became the strongest. It wasn't through the good times. The good times are not building character in us. They're not building resilience in us. It was the challenges. It was the really tough stuff. And that tough stuff that has made you so resilient and so strong is what also makes you uniquely you. And this world needs you to show up today. There are people who God is going to send into your life today that are going to resonate with things you say, not with what Markus says. Why? Because I don't have the same history as you. And maybe it is the stuff that you think is the ugliest, the darkest stuff in your life, which is actually the stuff that's going to connect you to someone else. And let me give you a quick example. I have massive daddy issues. You've already heard me talk about it. It comes out so easily. And that led me for so many years. And I struggled with it for decades. And finally, what God showed me one day in my 30s was that if I hadn't gone through that, not only would I not be the man I am today, not only would I not be the husband and the father I am today, because I'm obsessed with my wife. I love my kids so much. And I do those things because of how bad I had it as a kid. But even more important than that is that there's a lot of people out there with daddy issues. Maybe everybody. And because I have my daddy issues, people feel really connected to me real fast. When I start talking about my daddy issues, people go, oh my goodness, bro, me too. Me too. My dad left us. I feel like I got daddy issues. And for people to see me and the success that I've had in life and the place where I'm at in life, and they go, hold on, this guy had the same issues I did? Then maybe something else is more possible than I realize. So that's the really exciting part. So if you can get into your head that just maybe, what if what I'm saying is true? What if every challenge you've had, every horrible thing that's happened in your life is actually a gift for you, that life was happening for you, not to you? You don't have to be the victim. You get to be the victor. And you will, if you believe that, you will be put into positions that will prove that I'm right, that you get to turn out victorious and help so many people on the way.
Okay, so we're going to do this live right now. Are you ready? So Marcus doesn't know this because we've never met before until this moment. We've been introduced via email by an amazing gentleman named Trent. Like Marcus, my parents divorced when I was 7 years old.
No way.
And like Marcus, I lived with my mom and would visit my dad occasionally, right? Sometimes I'd spend a month with him in the summer. We'd be building houses, and he'd take me on the vacation to a nice place in California and such. But 90% of the time with my mom. And so here's the thing. So I remember about 13, 14, Marcus. I remember about 13, 14, really asking the questions about what happened. Because at 7 years old, your world is still, you still don't really have the context. And so all of a sudden you're like, oh, certain friends have both parents. And oh, certain friends have their dads showing up and man, like, and then so you start asking questions and questions and questions about what happened. And then I don't know, 13, 14, right around there, you find out the rest of the story, right? And you're like, oh, and I remember getting really angry. Like I remember like the anger and I guess like hate, like building up in my heart, like towards my dad and what happened and the divorce and the whole thing. And I see my mom was always a woman of faith, and my mom prayed that and she would say, love your dad, spend time with your dad, call your dad on his birthday, like do these things, right? And keep praying for your dad. I remember having a talk with her about all of these things. And long story short, I believe the Lord freed me from that at about 16. And it was a gift of grace to free me from the resentful and the anger and where it could have taken me. Yeah. I believe it's because of my mom's prayers, not anything I really did. Like I just remember, that transition and then like the piece of it all after I was probably like a 1.5, 2 year, like part of my world. And I love my dad, and I hold no, I don't have those, at least I believe I don't have any of the dad issues. Right. But it would be great to hear your thoughts on that. And B, also, how did you know you had dad issues? And what do you mean by that when you say that? And it doesn't necessarily mean that even your parents had to be divorced to have these dad issues or mom issues, right? Like don't assume that has to be the case, right? But walk us through that. And then what were some of the things that helped you to forgive and to heal and to move forward?
Beautiful. First of all, I got to start by the fact that you got through that when you were 16, 15, 16, 14. Dude, I am so jealous. It took me like 35 years, for crying out loud. So good for you. And
again, it wasn't anything I did. Like, I mean, I never talking to my mom about it. So I guess maybe the one thing I did is I went and talked to her and then we prayed. Right. And by the way, it wasn't as if my mom was always just so positive and loving. Like she shared the raw facts. And I think this was key, right? She didn't hold back when we grew up what really happened. Because here's the reality. Kids will figure it out. They figure it out. They're smart. And I think as parents, I'm kind of talking to myself out loud and Markus here, right? And anyone else who's listening, like, tell your kids the truth. My mom not only believed and loved us, but she told us the truth. Now, she also was wise not to tell us the truth at 7 years old, right? She didn't really tell it at 10 years old. It actually wasn't until I think maybe we were ready to receive it. And when I asked the question, she didn't hold back. She didn't sugarcoat it. And she told the truth, but she also said, you pray for your dad. You love your dad and you forgive your dad. And you ask God to help you forgive him, right? She also didn't let us use it as an excuse or use it to consume us. Not excuse, I don't know if that's the word, but use it to consume us in a way that would lead us negative, right? Yeah. Lead us towards the anger and to be a part of that. But she told us the raw truth, and it was not easy truth. It was some really intense stuff. Yeah. But any thoughts on that, Markus? Well, let's just maybe go back and forth here to help some people here.
Absolutely. So first, I'm not taking anything away from your mom and the prayers. Yes, super powerful, made a big difference in your life, no question. But you took a lot of action. And it might be action that you don't even realize you took. Things like being led down this path to forgiveness. Well, guess what? People might have said that to me along the way, and I didn't listen. So you not only listened, but you were being coachable. You're like, okay, so if I harbor this stuff and anger towards my dad, it's going to cause problems. Okay, then I won't. Brother, do you know how hard that is? Do you know how many people listening right now are like, oh, I wish I could do that with my dad today, but I can't. Stupid dad. Like that's what happened. Like you're so awesome and blessed that healing took place when you were young and still very malleable. Like a lot of us get so set in our ways, and I got hardened in my ways. Like that lack of forgiveness got way worse for me. And I wonder how many people are listening and are like, yeah, I just kept building more resentment to my father. And what your mom prayed against and taught you against was, hey, when you harden your heart like this, it's going to show up as a problem in a whole bunch of different areas in your life. And it did for me. Like my relationships were a mess for my first 20 years. Am I using that as an excuse? Yep. Should I have taken more ownership? Absolutely. Did I know, or did I have anyone that I was willing to let lead me? Nope. Until I finally did. And one of the places it led to was Jesus. And Jesus was, because I barely let him do it, it took him decades to fix me as well. And so one of the key things that you said that I think is so valuable for anyone listening who is resonating with all this and relating to our daddy issue stuff is you have to find a way to forgive. And I want to be clear on this. Forgiveness and forgiving and forgetting are two different things. And I love that somebody taught me this. Forgiveness doesn't mean, okay, so I'm going to call my dad now and we're going to try and hang out every day this week. No, nobody said that. But lack of forgiveness is like drinking poison every day and hoping that that person dies. It's doing nothing to them. It's killing you. So one of the things I was able to do to really, way more than forgive my dad, but to thank my dad, to be so grateful for my dad for the way he played the role he played in my life. He played it perfectly. He played it perfectly. Do you know how crazy and hard that is to say for someone who was abandoned, who felt abandoned for decades? Because if he hadn't done what he did, I don't get to be the father I am today. I'm a freaking great dad. I don't get to be the husband I am today to Brooke, who we celebrated 20 years recently. I'm obsessed with my wife. Yeah, I wouldn't get any of that if I get a good dad who is there all the time. So can I be more than just forgiving? Can I be actually grateful? Absolutely. And because that I am full of gratitude now, instead of anger, hate, resentment, which all these things will bog you down. And I hope that you've stayed listening to this point, because this is the crux of it all. And this is my firm belief. We have to be so mindful of the things that stop us from showing up as our best self every single day. We are one meeting away. We're one phone call away. We're one introduction away from radically changing our lives, putting us on a way better path to success. But if you show up like this, got so much anger and I'm tired because I haven't been sleeping and I ate poorly last year and I don't feel good about myself, you might miss today's call. Will there be another one? Maybe, maybe not. So my job is to show up as the best version of myself every day, to not pick up this sack and weigh me down every day with the resentment, the lack of gratitude, the anger, the pissed off at everything around me. My job is to make sure I'm clear and clean so that I can show up a 10 out of 10, because this might be the meeting. This might be the phone call. This might be the introduction, or the man who's going to introduce me to somebody that's going to radically change my life, my family's life, and everyone who I will ever know.
Amazing. Okay. So I want to pull some stuff out here. Okay, Marcus.
Please do.
Okay. So I think about the verse that says, every good and perfect gift comes from God, right?
Yes.
And I think about this in the Bible, and it doesn't mean it's always positive. In fact, it's often just the opposite. Like it says in James, right, that count it pure joy whenever you face trials and basically challenges of many, many kinds, because it's an opportunity for you to persevere in your faith. Yes. And to grow. And faith, when it's fully grown, right? It's complete, right? It's this idea of moving towards who God's called you to be, right? And doing it in a trusting, faithful, in this battle that we get to be in, which is our journey of our life, right? It is our battle every single day, and in a good way, right? And then second, I think about, you said more than forgiving, you said grateful, right? And part of the theme of this podcast is stewardship over ownership. Nice. And the idea here is that when we tend to have ownership, generally speaking, and you can have it in positive and negative with ownership, right? But the negative part of ownership can move towards what I think is entitlement. And when we really want to own the pain or own what's been done to us, right? And things happen, or circumstances, and in a sense, hold on to that and own that and like kind of pull that in and just say, okay, I'm going to either use it as an excuse. I'm going to use it as a crutch. I'm going to use it as a negative thing. I'm going to allow it to control me. We're watching the movie again with my family, The Lord of the Rings. Okay. And so literally watching them yesterday, and they got Gollum. He's crawling up the side of the thing, and Frodo's like, who's that? And he's like, oh, that's Gollum. And he goes, well, someone's following us over there. And he goes, oh yeah, he's been following us for 3 days, and it's like, and then Gandalf says a word there. He goes, yeah, he's, the ring has consumed him. And he goes, oh, and like basically Frodo's like, well, what do you mean by that? He's like, well, he loves it and he hates it at the same time. He loves it and he hates it at the same time. And I think that's part of the world and that we're in when we go through these things. It's like we have a choice that we can let it all consume us. Yeah. But there's also a part here where we have to choose to, love what it could. Don't let it consume you, but let it become something where it can grow you, and so you can have joy of it, which leads into the other side, which is stewardship, right? So stewardship is saying, look, every good and perfect gift comes from God, even if it's these challenging things that are happening. And I'm going to choose to step into this and be a steward with what's been given to me, right? For the short time on this side of earth. And I'm going to be grateful for all of the things that, are going on as an opportunity to step out in faith, to step out and to grow. So I'm going to pause there. I'm going to pass the mic back to you to see what you think about that.
Oh, there's two key things I want to pull out of what you just gave, which is beautiful, by the way. Number one is this, and I really feel God has been so generous to teach me this in time. But it's funny, you can be in prayer and going, God, help me to be stronger today. And then, boom, he puts a challenge in front of us to make us stronger. Because remember, you are not going to get stronger just sitting here. Everything's great. My strength is going up as we speak. That's not how it works. We all know that. Prove me wrong, please, anybody, because I keep missing it. I'm not growing strong. How do we get stronger? By testing ourselves, by pushing. Like, think about your muscles. How are you going to get stronger? Well, I got to lift some heavy weights. If I lift the light weights that are like, this is nothing. Oh, look, I got big muscles from lifting these easy weights that was no stress. No, it has to be stressful. It has to be like really putting in the work. Okay, so I prayed, God, make me stronger. He put something in the same day. Here you go. Here's your challenge to get you stronger. And we go, God, why is this challenge in front of me? God, please pull me out of this challenge. This is horrible. And he's going, are you being serious right now? You just prayed for it. I gave you what you prayed for. So I want my encouragement to everybody today is watch for the things you're praying for. If you are asking for more strength and he puts something in front of you to strengthen you up, what if instead of us pushing it away and ask God, please pull me out of this, what if first we changed our prayer to say, God, I can see there's a challenge in front of me. Will you join me in this? I don't want to be taken out of this. I want you to be in this with me. So I'm inviting you in. And Lord, help me to see this challenge for what it is, the opportunity to get stronger. And I just want to pause right there, everybody. And I know that might sound like, whoa, that's like wishful thinking or super positive or whatever. Let's talk real basic. I've got a challenge in front of me, and it's this challenge. It might be big or it might be small. Which version of Markus do you think is going to do better at the challenge? Check me out. Challenge. Okay. Or it's challenge time. Let's go. It's not even close, right? The second guy, I'll put all my money on the second guy. Is he guaranteed to win? No. Is his chances greatly improved? You bet. So I just want you guys to think about that in the most simple form. When you've got a challenge in front of you, how do you want to show up to it? And I hate to use these words, but sometimes you have to fake it till you make it a little bit. Find strength in others. Ask other people, how do you go through it? Ask me. If you need more time with me, reach out to me on social media. Hit me up at playbiggergame.com. There's ways to find out who you can be, how strong you can be in showing up for these challenges. And I love helping people with that. I love that. This is transformational stuff if you let it transform you.
Absolutely. And Markus, tons of wisdom, tons of insight. And, I love that. Will you join me on this, right? Ask the Lord to please join you on this, There's another thought, like you can either worry or you can pray. If you're going to worry, you might as well not even pray. And if you're going to pray, guess what? You don't need to worry, right? It really is that. Spending more time in prayer, connecting with God, asking Him to join you in the challenge. And also the second thing is, when you are a believer and you come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ, like it says that you've already been given all of these things. So even though you say, hey, I want more strength, well, He's already given you the strength. He's given you the strength through His word, through the Holy Spirit, right? Through the saving blood of what Jesus did for you on the cross. Like He's given you those things. And so I think the key here is, hey, would you A, give me the awareness that I have the strength that you've already given me to overcome this thing? Yes. And then B, would you show me how you're growing me through this so that I can become the person you want me to be, right? To show up to be the dad you've called me to be, to show up to be the husband you've called me to show up to make an impact for the world that you've called me to be. The other thing that's kind of been blowing my mind as I read the Bible, it talks about that He's created good works for each of us to do before the creation of the world, right? So before the world was even created, He ordained us to walk in good works, right? It's basically to walk in faith, to do these good works. And so every day I'm thinking like, whoa, like today is the day that He made for me to do these good works. Like, don't miss it. Like today's the day. Like the urgency is now. Like, do not take for granted how short our time is on this side of earth. And also don't take for granted how long time is outside of this side of earth, right? That's the other thing to understand. Like when time is short on this side of earth, but time is forever, right? And so like these are the things that one of the things I'm doing is to help me with this, Marcus, is I'm watching a Billy Graham. It's a 5-minute on YouTube. It's like Billy Graham inspiration. Time is short is the video. It's 5 minutes. Nice. And basically it's a clip of Billy speaking about time, right? And he goes through this for like 5 minutes, and it's so powerful. And basically the theme is time is short, and every single day we don't know this, but we're all members of the Bank of Time. We all bank at the Bank of Time, every one of us in the world. And the Bank of Time has no overdrafts, and you don't get the money back. If you fail to use the deposits by the end of the day, if they're gone. It's like either you do them or you spend them or you don't, right? You take advantage of it, you don't. And my goal for I'm doing this 2025 every single day. I am listening to that. Beautiful. Because two things. The Lord's been telling me that time is short, right, on this side of earth. Do not take for granted the gifts and the days and the hours and the children. And we got 5 kids, married 15 years, and like the amount of time we have with them before they're 18. And it's like, do not take for granted. It's like, I don't want to take any of it for granted. So would you leave us with an encouragement, a challenge when it comes to time, right? And then we'll wrap it up with the lightning round.
Oh, I love that. Thank you for this. Thank you for this whole time with you, brother. I've gotten so much out of it. And I'm just grateful to be here, man. And I have so many different challenges. I'm going to give a quick 2-parter. One is my hug challenge that I love to issue. This one's so simple, everybody. Please try it today with anybody you care about. I want you to go give them a hug. And the studies have shown that after 8 seconds, it radically changes our body's chemistry. Radically. You release so many more endorphins. You have such wonderful, beautiful hormones coursing through your body if you hold that hug for 8 seconds. But I'm going to take it a step further. So you're going to love this one with your wife, brother, and you absolutely with your kids. Not only are you hugging them for that 8 seconds, but you're also just pouring beautiful, loving energy towards them. I mean, just in your head, you're going, oh, Lord, thank you for this amazing woman. Oh, she's amazing. She's so beautiful. She's so wonderful. You think your wife's not going to feel that? It is one of the most beautiful, transformative things, and it literally takes 8 to 10 seconds. So that's number one. And the second that I've been given that God blessed me with in the last 6 months is He's called me to listen more. And many of us as Christians, we pray. And I ask people, well, how much are you listening to God? Well, I'm in prayer. I pray to Him a lot. Great. And in prayer, we're thankful and we're asking Him for things and we're asking Him for this and that. Okay, did you listen for an answer? Did you wait? And so over and over, he's called me to listen more, listen more. And if you're looking at Isaiah 55, one of my new favorite verses in the Bible, Isaiah 55, I won't get into the long version, but here's a piece of it. Listen to me and come to me, and you will delight in the richest of fare. And I really believe what he's shown this to me so much. I just have to listen. I sit in quiet and I listen, and it changes me. It transforms me. It gives me so much peace. And I really am delighting in the richest of fare. I appreciate so much the things going on around me in my life. The stuff that was already there, I appreciate way more. I think food tastes better. I think hugs feel better. So life can be so much better if we stop listening to the world, stop listening to social media, dragging us one way when we know it's the wrong way. Start going the other way.
Amen. Amen. Let's drop it up with the lightning round. So good. Make sure 8+ second prayers plus powerful energy that's positive and pouring in and prayerful if you're a believer. And then second, listen more, Isaiah 55. Okay, here we go. Lightning round. Are you ready, Marcus?
Ready. Let's go.
I want you to know now, if you could fast forward to 10 years from now, what's the one question that you would want to ask yourself to make sure you're living your best life numbers?
Oh, what is the number one thing I should be focusing on to transform into the man that I need to become?
Perfect. Question number 2. Love that. What's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
Atomic Habits by James Clear. Atomic Habits will radically change your life.
Absolutely. They have a masterclass on that too. Watch the masterclass. James Clear is masterful on that as well.
Oh, yes. By the way, how ridiculous I didn't say my own book, but I think I actually have recommended James Clear's even more than my own. But Play a Bigger Game was a bestseller as well, and it will help transform you.
I love it. That's great. 2 books is good, better than 1. Question number 3. What are you most curious about right now?
What am I most curious about right now? What God has planned for me next. Truly. And I love it. And I'm okay with taking my time. I'm most curious though, because it's like every day I think I get clues, and it's really fun putting this puzzle together.
Sweet. Question number 4. What's the number one leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
Where focus goes, energy flows.
Good. I like the other one too. Diluted focus, diluted results.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, you're a Rory Vaden fan then.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Rory, one of Rory's quotes is one of my favorites. We are most powerfully positioned to help the person we once were.
Yes.
What we were talking about earlier. The stuff you have gone through makes you uniquely qualified to help others with the same issues.
Oh man, that's absolutely. I joined Brand Builders, by the way. Amazing.
Yes. Me
very
too.
cool. Next question, or last question, second last question. Number one way you're using ChatGPT or just any AI in general? Like, what's the top way you're using it?
You know what? So I am very slow to get on board with it right now. I have not been playing with it at all. And I am not a foolish person who thinks that it's not going to be around. It will absolutely be around. I love one of the quotes I read recently, which is, you aren't going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by a person who uses AI.
Yeah, it's true. The world is moving fast. Okay, last question, and this is again the essence of the podcast, which is this: like, what's the number one way that you practice stewardship over ownership, and then also what's something you're really passionate about giving back?
Oh, that's really good. Stewardship over ownership. Every single morning before I even get out of bed, I dedicate that day to the Lord. This is His day, and it's just like you said before, Brett. I don't know what He's got planned for me today, but He's going to use my talents today. He's going to use my gifts today. And I take that very serious. So by dedicating my life to Him, even before I take my first steps, that whole day is His, and I feel much more guided by Him.
Beautiful. Absolutely love it. Markus, make sure I pronounce this correctly. Kaulius. It's been absolutely amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much for helping us play a bigger game today, have a bigger vision, and to move and work through challenges as much as, dad, father challenge issues and business and mindset, and being able to move in a way in a podcast in 53 minutes that few can ever really do, but you're masterful at what you do, and you continue to use your gifts and talents that you've been given to bless and to make an impact for others. For our listeners who want to get in touch with you, remind them one last time, what's the best place for them to find you?
Playabiggergame.com or on Instagram. I'll respond to your DMs. Brett, you are doing such beautiful things. Thank you for letting me be part of this wonderful time with you, man. You are transforming lives. And everybody listening, I just want to tell you one more time, you are a leader. You're a bigger leader than you realize. There are a lot of people watching you. So if you can take something from today that can improve your life just a little bit, it will improve the lives of everyone around you as well. So I hope you take that as a beautiful piece of accountability and not so much as pressure, but just enjoy it. Enjoy being a great leader. And thanks for being the leader that you are.
Amen and amen. And all of our listeners, I want to thank you for being a guest to watch this on either our YouTube channel for Build Up to Billions or on our Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel or any of the podcasts that you might be consuming the episode out as well. Please rate, review, subscribe, share this so someone can make a huge impact for. And we will talk to you again all real soon. Bye now. Good. I like the other one too. Diluted focus, diluted results.
Oh my goodness. So, yeah, you're a Rory Vaden fan then.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Rory, one of Rory's quotes is one of my favorites. We are most powerfully positioned to help the person we once were. Which is what we were talking about earlier. The stuff you have gone through makes you uniquely qualified to help others with the same issues.
Oh man, that's absolutely. I joined Brand Builders, by the way. Amazing.
Yes, me
very
too.
Cool. Next question, or last question, second last question. Number one way you're using ChatGPT or just any AI in general? Like, what's the top way you're using it?
You know what? So I am very slow to get on board with it right now. I have not been playing with it at all. And I am not a foolish person who thinks that it's not going to be around. It will absolutely be around. I love one of the quotes I read recently, which is, you aren't going to be replaced by AI. You're going to be replaced by a person who uses AI.
Yeah, it's true. It's the world is moving fast. Okay. Last question. And this is, again, the essence of the podcast, which is this, like, what's the number one way that you practice stewardship over ownership? And then also, what's something you're really passionate about giving back?
Oh, that's really good. Stewardship over ownership. Every single morning before I even get out of bed, I dedicate that day to the Lord. This is his day. And it's just like you said before, Brett, I don't know what he's got planned for me today, but he's going to use my talents today. He's going to use my gifts today. And I take that very serious. So by dedicating my life to him, even before I take my first steps, that whole day is his, and I feel much more guided by him.
Beautiful. Absolutely love it. Markus, make sure I pronounce this correctly. Kaulius. It's been absolutely amazing to have you on the show. Thank you so much for helping us play a bigger game today, have a bigger vision, and to move and work through challenges as much as, dad, father challenge issues and business and mindset, and being able to move in a way in a podcast in 53 minutes that few can ever really do, but you're masterful at what you do, and you continue to use your gifts and talents that you've been given to bless and to make an impact for others. For our listeners who want to get in touch with you, remind them one last time, what's the best place for them to find you?
Playabiggergame.com or on Instagram. I'll respond to your DMs. Brett, you are doing such beautiful things. Thank you for letting me be part of this wonderful time with you, man. You are transforming lives. And everybody listening, I just want to tell you one more time, you are a leader. You're a bigger leader than you realize. There are a lot of people watching you. So if you can take something from today that can improve your life just a little bit, it will improve the lives of everyone around you as well. So I hope you take that as a beautiful piece of accountability and not so much as pressure, but just enjoy it. Enjoy being a great leader. And thanks for being the leader that you are.
Amen and amen. And all of our listeners, I want to thank you for being a guest to watch this on either our YouTube channel for Build Up to Billions or on our Capital Gains Tax Solutions YouTube channel or any of the podcasts that you might be consuming the episode out as well. Please rate, review, subscribe, share this so someone can make a huge impact for. And we will talk to you again all real soon. Bye now.